Hi everyone, Ravi this side. Welcome to Engineering Atta. Today in this video, we are going to solve one of the lead code array question, which is question number 682, and it says baseball game. So let me try to go to the lead code and try to go to this particular question and then try to read out the thing for you. So you can come here and you can see that it is a question number 682, which says baseball game, and it comes under the section of array. So what is the question and how we can solve it out? Everything we are going to discuss in this video. So first of all, let me try to read out the question for you and understand the things what it requires to develop the solution for it. So let me try to read out the question for you. So you can see that you are keeping the score for a baseball game with a strange rule. At the beginning of the game, you start with an empty record. So it says that you are going to keep the scores of a baseball game, and there are the rules that you are going to discover here in this question again. So you have, let's say, a empty record, or you can say you have an empty array, and then when the game started, you have to record the scores of this game. You are given the list of strings, which is operations, where operation I is the highest operation you must apply to the record and is one of the following. It can be an integer. The operation can be integer. Record a new score of x. You can say integer x, and it is a record of new score of x. Then the operation can be plus, which records a new score, that is the sum of the previous two scores. Operation can be d, records a new score, that is double of the previous score. And the operation can be C, which invalidates the previous score, removing it from the record. So these are the four possible operations we have. And then now let me try to read out the things. Return the sum of all the scores on the record after applying all the operations. So there are array. There is an array which is array of a string, which says operations, and inside that we have either integers or plus or d or c. Any operation we can have present there. According to the operation, we have to perform some operations on those, let's say, on those elements of the operations array. And then we have to find out an array of integers, and we have to sum it all and then return it out. That is what we are going to do here. The test case are generated such that the answer and all the immediate calculation fit in a 32-bit integer, and that all operations are valid. So here, first of all, if you go for the example 1 or any of the example, you will get the better understanding what the operation does and how we can find out the sum. So here, let's say we have an array of operation which says pipe to C, D and plus. So what all things we have to do one by one, let me try to tell you. So let's say we have the array of a string here which says operation, then we have to iterate through it. And then the first element is, let's say, integer. Then we have to record it somewhere in a list or in a new array. Then we have a second element as an integer. Again, we have to record it or add it there to the new list that you created. Then we have the next operation, which is C, which invalidates and remove the previous score. And the record becomes, when we are going to remove the previous score from 5 and 2, the record will become only 5. So the list can contain only 5. Okay, only one element when you remove the 2. Now the next operation is D, which says doubles the previous element. So we have only one element 5, and that we are going to double it out and add it to the list again. So you're going to double the 5 and then become 10, and then you have to add that things into the list again, or into the record or the array that you are maintaining. Okay. Now the next operation is plus. Then what you have to do is you have to add previous two elements, and then whatever comes the output, you have to record it or add it in the list again. So that is how it become like 5, 10, and then 15. And at the last, if all the operations are indent, then what you have to do is whatever elements you have inside the list or the new array, you have to add it out and then return it. That is what we are going to do here. So this is the question. I think you got the understanding of the question, what it requires. And now let me try to jump to the solution, how we can develop it out. So the simple things we are going to do is we are going to iterate through this operation array, and according to the operation that it has, so it already have listed out 4 operation it has maximum. So we are going to write the case for each of the operation, and then I will create a list where I will try to put this records or scores, and then we'll try to add it at the end and then return it out. So as simple as that. That is what we are going to do. So for that, let me try to create a list here. So let's say it's a list of integer, and let's say L equal to new array list of integer. And now what we have to do is we have to iterate through this operation. So it is a string array. So a string, let's say is string op equal to, semicolon operation, colon operation, and then what we have to do is one by one we'll get each element of this operation array, and then what we have to do is we have maximum 4 operation we have. Okay, so I'm going to write the case for this 3 operation first. So let's say if op dot equals either it can be d, okay, or it can be, let me try to copy this. Either it can be D or C, and then it can be plus as well. So we are keeping all these 3 operations in this block, and then for the integer we have the different block which is going into the else. And here what we are going to do is we are going to create let's say we are going to convert this integer, this element which is 5.2, from string to integer and then add it into the list. So what we have is so integer dot value of, and then we are going to pass this op, and we are good. Now we have this integer, and then we are going to add it into the list that we created above. So simply when it is an integer, we are converting out from string to integer and then adding it to the list. And if it is this operation like B, C or plus, then we are going to perform it individually, what it does. Okay, so let's say if it is D, then let's say if operation equals to D, then what we have to do is we have to see here, you can see record a new score that is double of the previous one. So what we have to do is I'm just going to create a, let's say integer A, and then I'm going to find out the last element from this array. So you can find out this L dot last index, something like that is there, last element. I need to check. So if it is like operation D, then in that case what we have to do is so if it is in operation D, then what we have to do is we are going to find out the last element from the array list that we created, and then we have to double out that particular element and add it to the array list again. So for that, let me try to create a variable called int a, and let's say L dot get last, and we have the last element. Now what we are going to do, L dot add 2 into a. Okay, so we are good. And for this other operations like C and plus, we are going to write down the case here. So let's say if it is operation is C, then in that case what we have to do is we have to remove the last one. Sorry, we have to remove the last one, and that's all. And if operation is plus, then what we have to do is we have to fetch out the last and the second last, and then add it and uh, add the sum out of them into the list. So just let me try to get the second element. Let's say B. So with this operation, we are getting out the last element, and now we have to find out the second last element, which is get. And we are going to use we have to provide the second last. How we can provide it out? An dot size minus 2 would be the second last, not minus 1. And now we have the second last element, and we have the last element. Now we have to add it out. So let's say C equal to A plus B. And then we have to add this C into the list. So we are good. So we calculated all the, like we have written down the case where operation is D, C or plus, and what we have to do. Okay, so everything we have coded here. Now what we have to do is we have to find out the sum of the elements that are there in the list that we created. Okay, so let me try to, we are here, let me try to write in the for loop, let's say integer I equal to this, and then we have this AL. So from AL we are going to iterate through, and then we are going to add all elements. So let me try to create a variable called sum and initialize it with the 0. Now what we have to do is we have to find out sum equal to sum plus I, and we are keeping into the sum. Now we are good. Now let me try to return the sum here. So just return sum, and we are good. Again, let me try to summarize the code for you, what I did. So first of all, let me try to minimize it out. Okay, let me try to go up. So here you can see we created one array list, and then we are iterating to the operation array. And for this case, like if it is D, C or plus, we are going into this if block, and one by one we are finding out each of the operation, and according to the operation we are performing the operations here, and then whatever things are coming up we are adding it to the list or removing from the list. Okay, so here it is not required. Okay, and everything is done then. And if it is like integer value we are having into the operation array, then we are converting it to the int and then adding it to the list. And at the last, we are finding out the sum of all the elements inside the list and then returning it out. That is what we are doing here. Let me try to run this code and then see how it is working. So you can see it passed all the test cases. Now let me try to submit it out. And here you can see it only took 2 seconds and it beat around 87% of the solution. So this is how you can write the solution for this problem. And this is about the video, guys. If you like the video, please hit the like button and please subscribe the channel for more such content. Thanks.